Alright, what's going on, guys? Trev back again, here to bring you another video. This one's going to be doing my monthly review for this month's issue of the Walking Dead comic book series. This is for issue 177. It is part 3 of 6 for New World Order. And spoiler warning, if you guys have not read this issue yet for The Walking Dead, you'll want to read it before you watch my review. That said, I mean, it was mostly kind of a setup issue, introducing some new characters, and we have a few things with our core group, these survivors in it. But because it's kind of a broken down issue, and you guys know for the comic book series version of The Walking Dead, we get the monthly issues, but a lot of times, you know, it doesn't include that much. So like with regards to this one, you know, because it's broken down and we get to see a few different locations, there isn't that much progress made overall, I feel like, in just a single issue. Basically, it's one of these that we've been kind of seeing lately with a lot of the setup at the Commonwealth and everything that's happening in The Walking Dead. You get into it, you start reading it, before you know it, it's already over. So it just feels like it's so short, which in terms of pages it isn't. But because you have so many different groups and you have so many different characters and there's really new things being set up here with the Commonwealth and the NWO, the New World Order story arc, that, you know, it just feels like sometimes the issues are over as soon as you start reading them. So this is the Mercer issue. So if you guys have been seeing, I've been doing videos for the covers, well, for pretty much like 8 years now. But the cover for The Walking Dead issue 177, we see Mercer on the cover. He's got kind of the orange armor on. And we get the sense that he is a high-level you know, army fighter, warrior, you know, just a high-level ranking, I suppose you could call him like a lieutenant or military person. So as far as their fighters go, or their soldiers go, he is one of their best that they have, and he is one that has been picked out to guard the governor's son, Sabastian. So we get the idea. So we meet Sabastian, we meet Mercer, because this is the first issue we've met him. We've seen him on the cover, but we haven't actually seen him in action, and I think that's probably the coolest part of this issue, is introducing Mercer as this just like, you know, very, very strong soldier, fighter, zombie apocalypse type of just killer that really right now is being used as like a high level ranking or top soldier, top lieutenant kind of you know, military person, but at the same time, you know, he's a little bit, sounds like, frustrated with what he's been given to do with protecting the governor's son. We get a very, I want to say, Land of the Dead type of feel with the Commonwealth here, where you have these rich elitists. I've seen some sites kind of compare them to these rich elitists that pretty much run the Commonwealth. We know that there are a lot of survivors in the Commonwealth. It's a huge community, the biggest community we've ever seen, and it really is heavy in kind of the class system, you know, way of looking at society, where you have like your super rich, you know, at the top, which compared to Rick's group and the other groups, that doesn't matter. Like whatever you had before the zombie apocalypse, if you were a lawyer, you were a doctor, you were a business tycoon or something, you were a millionaire, billionaire, once the zombie apocalypse hit, with regards to our other groups, none of that mattered. You could have guys like the governor on top. You could have Rick, who is, well, you know, there's nothing wrong with being a sheriff or being a police officer. Is a great profession. They get paid really well. But comparing that to, like, you know, somebody like who's, you know, I don't know, this very rich type of person where they've got, you know, lots or is maybe in politics, this kind of thing, you know, higher ranking, you know, it feels more like the Commonwealth has kind of carried over that kind of the rich elitist kind of thing from real life into the zombie apocalypse more. So we see a person like Mercer who physically, you know, he seems to be way, you know, at just another level than these people, but it kind of seems like they've sort of hired him as well as the others to kind of join the Commonwealth and fight as part of this soldier unit for them and their army, really, their military. And so that's what you have. So at the Commonwealth, you have kind of the army of the military, which is doing their thing, and they have the sweet gear and everything, and really cool weapons, and then lockers and everything, like very, very well organized, very kind of you know, old world or regular life as we're used to it. And then you have kind of the people that never get their hands dirty, the kind of you know, rich elitists there, you could refer to them as, where they're just kind of like these, like the Sabastian guy reminds me of Joffrey from Game of Thrones or A Song of Ice and Fire, where he just seems like this really spoiled rich kid, right? He's like this really spoiled rich kid whose mom is like in charge. So he's got, you know, Mercer wrapped around his finger. Even though Mercer could smoke him anytime he wants to, he won't, because it's kind of like this, you know, kind of a situation here. So Mercer's not happy, and at the end of the issue he talks to George, who looks to be probably another soldier, I would think, who's kind of inquiring with Mercer about how his job is going right now, taking care of Sabastian, babysitting him, and Mercer's expressing his discontent with doing it, but at the same time George is kind of questioning, like, should we make a move, should we do something, you know, take this place over or something, because Mercer's, it seems to me, he's going to Mercer because Mercer's probably someone that could probably make that happen, because Mercer is someone who could lead with like an iron fist, governor-esque, or, you know, not really Rick, because he hasn't really taken over a group, but something like that we've seen with the governor, where, you know, somebody that could just kind of take over and clean house and that kind of thing, but he doesn't really want to get his hands dirty, he doesn't really want to do that, he just thinks that given enough time, these idiots will get themselves killed, because they have no ability to defend themselves in the zombie apocalypse or survive, as far as, you know, all the things we've seen Rick's group have to go through over the years. So we have that. We have Sadiq at the end, who actually overhears them talking about this in the locker room, and so we'll have to see what happens with that, and the possibility of maybe in the future the Commonwealth kind of going into some kind of civil war, or there being a coup to maybe take the place over from the soldiers, the military, and we'll have to see how this all goes down. But it's pretty exciting to see what's happening here, and Mercer is really cool. So there is another part as well too, where you have Sabastian, the governor's son, who's basically you know, making out with Kayla, and there's a bit of making out in this issue, so that's what it is. And it kind of in the open, and we find out that Mercer was kind of at a distance, allowing them space, and Kayla didn't know that he was there watching over them, and a couple roamers came up on them, walkers came up on them, and Mercer goes at them with his axes, which is really cool. It's like, also, I say, like a small hatchet type of throwing axe type of thing, and he throws the axe and, you know, kills the one, and then they kind of pan out after Sabastian gives him an earful, because he just ruined Sebastian's time, where Sebastian's trying to get with this Kayla girl, and Mercer comes out to have to save them, and it ruins, you know, his fun. So then it kind of pans back, and you get to see like 12, like a dozen zombies on the way. So we just saw Mercer kill like the last two that got close to Kayla and Sabastian, but Mercer's actually cleaned out like a dozen by himself, which is really cool. So we really get the feel from Mercer that he's kind of like, I want to say, the Michonne, or maybe more, even, you know, more so for the Commonwealth. He's, you know, very good at killing zombies. He's very strong. You know, he's good with his axes and stuff, which is really cool. And so that's why he was chosen as one of the best fighters they have, soldiers they have, to watch over the governor's son. So you have all of that stuff. It's all good stuff. You have Michonne and Elodie, who are at Elodie's place now, and Michonne gets a little bit of the backstory about Colette, who's dead, and that Elodie had to kill, or killed, all of the men who you know, raped her, or whatever happened with that. But that Elodie was able to survive, and we see that. So we got, you know, some good dialogue between Michonne and Elodie, her daughter. So there's that. All that stuff was good at the Commonwealth. At the beginning of the issue, we actually started off in a different spot. We get to see Rick again, which we haven't seen Rick for a while. He's talking with Mikey, who's writing, and you know, writing about losing, you know, all the people that he's lost and everything he's gone through, and that Anne is having him do that, and it's helping him. Then at the end, in the last part, he says, so you should write something for Andrea, and then Rick gets very, very sad, because that's someone that he lost as well himself, and you know, we saw that all throughout the series, and it's still always kind of strange every time they mention that. My brain has to do like an update, because compared to the TV series where he's with Michonne, he's with Andrea for so long in the comics and everything, and I have to kind of go through, oh right, this is the comic version of Rick, and he was with Andrea for all this time. You guys feel that shift when you read that, and you're like, oh yeah, that's right. I don't know, unless you read the Walking Dead comic more than you watch the TV series as you're going through. For me, I have to do this whole, like, I can feel my brain doing it, like this update thing. It's like, oh yeah, that's right. He's with Andrea all this time and everything, and so that's sad for him. Plus, it's been a while since we've seen Rick in the Walking Dead comic book series. Months. I think somebody said November, and I haven't checked that, but you know, it sounds about right. You know, it's been a while since we've seen Rick, so that's pretty much all we get to see for Rick. Just a really quick thing with Mikey, and yeah, I mean, about Anne and about the Andrea discussion, and that's basically all we get to see from him. So we just touch in with him for a minute, And then we see the hilltop, which is funny, which is maybe one of the takeaways from the issue, which is that we have Eduardo who goes to the, they're standing, he's got him and another guy, they're standing on guard at the hilltop with their spears and stuff, and he goes to the locker, or not the locker, but the shed type of thing at the hilltop to get maybe another spear or something, or to get something, and he catches Maggie and Dantae making out in the shed, which is funny. So the weapons shed, or holding shed, which is really funny. And so he kind of says he doesn't see anything. He closes it because, of course, Maggie's like the top dog there. She's in charge, so close it and kind of acts like he didn't see anything. And then she's like all worried about what to do and stuff because she feels ashamed that she was doing that with Dantae. So start of a relationship with them. I felt like this was good. It kind of came out of nowhere. It was surprising, and that's good because we saw recently, of course, Maggie went to Negan and she was thinking about killing him. Negan was allowing her to do so if she wanted to, and she decided not to. So that kind of closes the book, I think, on the Glenn situation. Which happened before, and now we're starting to see Maggie possibly have a relationship with Dantae, but right now she's kind of ashamed of it, so she's not willing to kind of let it out with everybody that this is what she's doing. So so that was cool. That was fun. And you guys can write your comments below. Just what do you think about that? How do you feel about Maggie? I feel like it's been enough time now, and the resolution of what happened with Negan there, and her going to kind of see him and almost kill him, that it makes sense that at this point she'd start to kind of move on, I guess, if she's ever going to. I mean, it'd be okay too if she just never did. But it's good drama and everything, and Dante's kind of been making advances at her for a long time now, years in the comic book series in terms of real time. In the comics, we've been seeing that. So there's that. And I think that's pretty much all there is of the issue. So standouts for the issue really are that scene with Maggie, because that's kind of a big one. For her character, that's a huge one, really. And then I think the stuff with Mercer and getting to see the future for him is really cool because we don't get to see that many characters that are, really, really good at killing zombies and are really that skilled in terms of their fighting ability. But we get the sense that Mercer is at another level, probably close to Michonne, maybe like a male version of Michonne, which, who knows, who would win, Mercer versus Michonne? I don't even know. Emotionally, I want to say Michonne, but based on what we're seeing from Mercer, I don't know, man. He looks like he's crazy with those axes. So really cool stuff, and excited to see where the rest of New World Order goes with this one. The next 3 issues left of this story arc, most likely before our survivors head back or something. And we'll have to see if Michonne decides to stay with her daughter or somehow is able to talk Elodie into leaving with her. So in terms of the issue, it's a pretty good issue. It just went by really fast, and you have a lot of setup. You have some advancement here for Maggie with her love life, and just a real quick minute with Rick and Mikey, then getting to see what could be happening here. It could be brewing in the Commonwealth with the soldiers, Mercer, versus the rich elitist governor, or her bratty son, and everybody else there that seems to be in charge and telling everybody what to do, but doesn't seem like they would be any use on their own out there in the zombie apocalypse. Let me know what you guys thought about this issue 177. Those are my thoughts. That was a pretty good issue, but quick, and it was over as soon as it started for me. If you like this review, please thumb it up below. You can share, you can favorite, and if you're new and you want to subscribe to the channel, I would appreciate it, and you can do so. You can subscribe at the bottom left. That's it for this one. I'll see you guys again soon for another video. As always, it's Trev, and I'm saying peace. I'll see you guys soon.